one's gonna go this way. Make sure the connections are towards the back of, towards the firewall. Make sure they click into place. Changing out the ICP connector. This one should have a cover on it. It obviously is missing it. It's supposed to be like a white cover, I believe. This is the old type. So I'm going back to the old type of connector to keep it from surging, basically. As you can tell, it is a little beefier, which keeps it from rattling inside. That's the part that this one's missing. So by replacing it, we should get rid of that I personally like to solder wires together, but since I'm kind of in a rush, this will have to do for right now. Things not recommended whatsoever. They always turn off on you. It's one of the reasons I'm doing this through butt joint and not through soldering, because that's the only, unfortunately that's the only solder I have. Soldering iron. And that's it. The damn wind doesn't help either. I guess I'll just leave it like that until I get to solder. If you buy one of these, throw it in the trash. this goes in there. That's what I was messing up with. There we go. All right. So this is broken. Gotta get a new one. That's where the sensor goes, or locks, should I say. Okay, quick recap, because I don't know when this camera stopped working because it got overheated. It was easier to put this part in first so I can put the tube into the head over there. This clamp actually has a tab on the bottom that keeps it in place. Try not to crush it like I did. I actually put the degas bottle up before all this. It wasn't locked into place, but it was just you know, I hooked it up from the bottom hose. I put this section first, then this section, because this one actually has, I ran all my lines through where it actually gets the air. I didn't think about that. I don't think it makes much of a difference. I don't think it's gonna cause any problems. And then just put the filter like a regular filter. But I'm probably gonna replace this whole system later, eventually, with a K&N or some other air intake system. Connect your, if you have your oil, your coolant filter, hook it back up to the lines. That line that goes back to the manifold, I think. Yeah, goes back to the manifold. And here we are. Also, I found extra parts. That's not a good thing. I noticed it doesn't have a clamp right there, so I'm gonna install that. Install the turbo tube right here that goes into the intercooler, and we're just about done to get this thing cranking. Awesome. So I'm missing this one. I'll have to replace it. These Mishimoto plugs are actually pretty good. They're worth it. As you can tell, that their magnet is really strong. It'll catch anything that's in your oil system that doesn't belong there. Kind of like another filter for metal filings. Can't complain about it. While I'm at it, I'm also going to replace these filters because they're old. I really recommend investing in something like this, a little chain vice grip, because it gets you out of little situations like this. And the filter for this is a 24070, a Wix filter. Plan on getting the cap filter is supposed to be better for this, but I didn't have time for that. So I had to settle for what they had. Be sure to get some new oil on the gasket. Now we lost quite a bit of coolant. I'm going to replace it with Motorcraft Gold antifreeze. We're going to go with a 50-50 mix. I was about to mention to make sure you close your little valve on the radiator to make sure you don't lose any, and I already screwed up. I lost a little bit. Don't forget to close the drain before you start pouring. And we are going with distilled water. These engines are more delicate than the older ones, and they require the least amount of sediment or minerals in their water. So I wouldn't recommend using hose water unless you're just going to flush it. Now I'm pretty sure once I run it, it's going to need more water, but that's it for right now, which was almost 4 gallons, almost 2 gallons of coolant and 2 gallons of water. It might take all 4 by the time we're done here. While repairing it, I actually found the bracket that holds the battery down, but it's missing the bolt, so just keep that in mind so I can find another bolt. Now we're gonna crank it to prime it. Let's cross our fingers that everything works. The oil's topped off. We also filled up the reservoir in the front where the new oil cooler is at. What else? The water has also been cooled in, or filled with coolant. And the power steering has also been topped off. So now we bump it so we can prime it, and let's see how this goes. Let's just give the starter time to cool off. We'll do this about 3 or 4 times, and that's just to prime the engine, and then we'll crank it and let's see if we're good to go. While we're waiting for the starter to cool off a bit, let's put this back together. I just noticed that part of the wire loom is supposed to go under. It's supposed to be placed before the gas bottle, but we'll just use it like that for today. Let's just get this truck running. Alright, let's bump it again. There was a difference in tone, so I'm gonna say that there's enough oil. So now there's a pressure. I'm gonna connect this back. And give it a couple of minutes, and we'll crank it from the inside. So maybe it wasn't that it was full of oil, it's maybe that the oil ran out, because remember we did actually empty out the value in the engine, so it needs oiling. Same goes for the water, and the power steering also went down a bit. Let's bump it again. Alright, the moment of truth is among us. Let's see if it starts. Cross my fingers. It's gotta start. I think the battery's weak already. Let's see if this thing turns on. Okay, so after replacing a bunch of stuff from the engine on this 06 6.0 at 450, the whole works had been done as far as changing the standpipes, dummy plugs, oil cooler, EGR, the whole works. About the only thing I didn't change were the heads on this engine, and it still won't start. I'm thinking it's probably the FICM. It's the only part that's left that I didn't change. Batteries are good. Alright. So, just to confirm my suspicions, I bought this scan gauge tube, which hooks up down here. Alright. It's connecting. Should take maybe about 30 seconds to a minute. Anyways, I've already programmed it to the 4 things that it must have in order to crank on. And that's the making sure the FICM syncs with all the cables. It's either a 1 for it is, or 0 it's not. That means you have like a short or some wiring problem. These are the codes to actually program that scan gauge. The other would be the ICP, which is the injection control pressure. It needs a minimum of 500 psi to crank start. The IPR is also important. It has to be between 15 and 18. That's just a measurement of like fully open or fully closed. Dumping all the oil back. It shouldn't read 15 or 85, but somewhere in between. That's what you want. And the FICM main power has to be, anything under 45 volts will be a failure, basically. It's not going to start. So this thing should have already finished communicating with the truck. I guess it's still trying to communicate. I don't know if this is normal. It shuts off like every couple of seconds. So there you see 14 ICP2, 0 sync. So it might be the sync. It's syncing. Oh, shit. The sync is there, so the wiring is no problem. The FICM main power is at 48. 47, ICP 35, ICP 107, 1,000 and some, 32. So, as you can tell, it is the FICM main power that drops drastically to like a 30 some. It's not going to start. So I'm just waiting for the FICM to get here, and I'll be replacing it pretty soon. Everything else checks out. Okay, so we need to replace the FICM. It doesn't seem to be working, so let's get to it. Remember that they have clips on both sides, so somehow wrap your fingers around it to clip both sides. That's how you replace the FICM. Okay, now let's see what excuse this truck's gonna use to not start. It's connecting. All right, there we go. 1848. Let's see the sync. Awesome. Man, I feel so accomplished. Holy. Ah, it worked. Yes. Fuck yeah. Awesome. Man.